Good morning, Cecil TV, Cecil County. I'm Grant Handley, your host for today. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Welcome to the morning show. Let's get into it. Starting with the weather. If you have not noticed, it is really cold. Today will be sunny with a high near 20 degrees. Wind chill values are as low as -2 degrees, so that's pretty unpleasant. Northwest wind is 5 to 7 miles per hour, becoming calm in the afternoon. Today, expect partly cloudy skies with a low around 9 degrees and some calming winds. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with a little bit better in the temperatures, high near 31, calm wind becoming southwest 5 to 7 miles per hour in the afternoon. It's chilly today. When I was leaving for work, the real feel was 3 degrees, so just stay warm, cover your ears, your hands, all extremities, and if you're sensitive to these conditions, stay inside. That'd be my best advice. Moving on to events in Cecil County. Coming this Thursday at the Rising Sun Library, Iron Hill Museum presents Birds, Birds, Birds. We're not talking about the Ravens because they just lost. We're talking about real birds. Explore the captivating world of eagles, hawks, falcons, and owls. Dissect an owl pellet and find out what they eat. This is for ages 6 through 11. It starts at 4:30 p.m. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Milburn Stone Theater presents Hamlet. Experience the drama, intrigue, and raw emotion of Shakespeare's timeless tragedy in a production that will leave you breathless and questioning the very essence of existence. Friday and Saturday evening performances at 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday will also have shows at 2 p.m. Coming this Saturday in Chesapeake City is Snow Much Fun. Put on your fun and crazy snowman outfit and go for a 1-block run. Okay, 1 block. You can run a block. There will be prizes and a pub crawl for the adults, and snow machine and snowball fight and Pell Gardens for the kids. So something for all ages there. Meet at Town Hall starting at 12:30 and see Chesapeake City Facebook page for more details. Okay, let's get into today's feature. Today we welcome District 35B Maryland State Delegate Kevin Hornberger. Delegate Hornberger is here to update us on the current legislative session in Annapolis. Delegate Hornberger, thanks for coming on to the show. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, Grant. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
Good, good. You were just telling me before we started that you had to hike across the city to get to the office in the cold. That must have been pleasant.
Boy, is it brisk coming off the bay.
Yeah. Well, I think the greatest talk of session and the news headline has been the budget that the legislature is facing, Governor Wes Moore's budget, with deficits being forecast as high as $3 billion. What has been kind of the past couple of weeks been like there, Kevin, and how have you guys been navigating that challenge?
Yeah, so lots of concern here. We started off heading into session with what we felt was a $2.7 billion deficit, and then DLS came back, Department of Legislative Services, and put us closer to $3 billion. And this $3 billion in the out years turns into $6 billion. So the concern there is, after the end of the last administration, we had between a $5 and $6 billion surplus. We had a lot of COVID money that was involved there. Now, fast forward to present times, we have a $3 billion hole that we need to fill. And there's lots of thoughts on how to best to do this. But just in the last few days, we've gotten the proposal from the governor on how he intends to make up this budget gap. So everyone's been debating that. It's about a third. So we've got additional revenue in the form of taxes and fees. We've got a 2% reduction to the rainy day fund. So that puts us from 10% down to 8%. And then we have a number of what I'll say discretionary spending cuts, whereas items are getting pushed out, funding mandates over the next 5 years. So it'll be our turn next to kind of look at the budget and decide how we want to fix it. It's sitting on the Ways and Means Committee. My hope is that we can provide some additional cuts and maybe even take away some programs and such to try to get this spending under control.
Interesting stuff, Delegate. We'll start with the more revenue subtopic here of trying to defeat the deficit. Is there any examples of an additional fee or tax that maybe we can anticipate coming to the finish line this year?
Yeah, so the governor offered a few solutions. One of those is a delivery tax. So, for example, if you get Walmart to deliver groceries to your home, or even Amazon, every time that would occur, you'd be charged 75 cents as a flat delivery fee. There's a number of other small revenue enhancers. He wants to increase things like table games and sports gambling tax rates. And, all of these added up will cover about a third of that budget deficit. However, it's our posture and some of us in the legislature that we're kind of taxed enough already,
Sure.
and we don't want to see any additional taxes on the citizenry. So we're going to, I think, push back on a little bit of those.
Now, the second aspect of defeating the deficit would be the slashing and cutting of programs. Do you find are you finding these cuts across the board to be proportional to the geography of Maryland or the population of Maryland, or is there any sort of concerns you have in one program being cut while another maybe not?
Yeah, so there's some cuts there in ag. Those are a little troubling. They disproportionately impact places like Cecil County. I also forgot to mention the governor does include some very small tax cuts. Those tend to be for lower income folks. And then above that, there's tax increases. So these are folks making $200,000 a year and up. In terms of the cuts, the biggest part is actually just delaying and deferring increases to agencies and things such as the schools and the blueprint. So these were forecasted expenditures, and he's saying instead of funding those this year, we might push those out 4 or 5 years. Probably the biggest one would be the Grow Your Own. This is a teacher training program, whereas it gives them more time to train and to matriculate. And instead of starting that now, the proposal is to push that out a few years. So cuts is a relative word. We're just going to do the things that we've said we would do, but later.
Sure.
It's kind of a deferment.
Right. Now, it's not all bad. I understand. One part of the proposal that Governor Moore had was raising the higher standard reduction in Maryland when it comes to taxes. Can you speak on that at all?
Yeah. So all of this has to be balanced with the federal tax law. So right now, DLS is projecting that the Trump administration will continue the same program in terms of taxes. And what that translates to is you can take the deductions on the federal side, the standard deduction. However, you can't itemize, for example, on the state taxes.
Right.
So ultimately, these are conversations that you should be having with your accountant. And there is some relief there again for lower income. But what we're seeing is middle class, upper middle class, and high income earners are going to see additional taxes. And this is kind of a rehash of what we had during the O'Malley years. The concern there being, of course, the higher earners are going to be paying more, but we don't want those higher earners to leave the state. We did see an exodus back during the O'Malley years in the recession, where those very high earners fled to other states, and then all of a sudden we're getting no revenue from those individuals.
Right. Kevin, the last question I have about Governor Moore, then we'll move on to legislation here. Last year, Governor Moore had worked on a public housing, revitalization in Maryland. You and I have spoke about it off camera as well, that public housing is a need in Maryland. Is that, where is that project lie? Is that something Sessions looking at again, or has that made it out to the process?
Yeah, the governor has an additional bill this year that will enhance those abilities. Basically, we have a housing crisis in Maryland, and if you are looking to buy right now, or you're a young person starting a family, in Cecil County especially, there's no stock available. There's nothing being constructed. The houses that are coming on the market are immediately getting sold above market value, and this is very difficult because folks that are just starting out tend to get financing. So if the home is selling for more than what the market is bearing, it makes it incredibly difficult to get a loan to buy that home. So what the initiatives have done last year is kind of streamline the processes from a permitting, so new construction could occur, and then it offers some flexibility in zoning and approvals of permits in municipalities and places that are close to mass transit, i.e. Perryville will probably be the biggest impact. So yes, I support those initiatives. We do need more housing. People have to have a place to live. Otherwise, they're co-locating and they're looking to other states, for example, and then we're losing earners, we're losing families, and that's a detriment to our county.
Right. Right. Thank you for those thoughts, Delegate. Moving on to your legislation for this upcoming session, one of the more interesting ones is your Farmers' Right to Repair bill. What is right to repair, and what are you hoping to champion this legislative session?
Yeah, so this is an exciting concept, and is only a recent phenomena as the items that we buy become more and more technical. Everything from your cell phone to your vehicle, as discussed. So over the last few years, I've kind of championed right to repair. My background, as you know, is a mechanical engineer, and I'm also the national chair for SEMA, which is an automotive aftermarket group. And we've been pushing for all sorts of things. One, we don't like the electrical vehicle mandate. We're trying to repeal that. The right to repair basically says that if you purchase it and you own it, you're allowed to do repairs, and the company that sold you that can't violate your warranty because you're repairing it on your own, or you're taking it to a small shop, or not taking it to the dealer. We found there's a lot of price gouging going on there, and you should be able to take your car wherever you want to get it fixed. With the farm equipment, and we actually just did a piece last year with Lancaster Farmer, John Deere probably being the worst offender. They're putting devices on these tractors that if you swap out the part, there's a microchip associated with that part, and if you don't have the ability to reprogram the tractor is not going to start back up. And what we found is that farmers were sitting and waiting for technicians to come out and do these repairs. There's crop loss, downtime, and they're losing a tremendous amount of money. So these diagnostic equipments, there's not enough of them available, and there's not enough staff available to come out and fix the item. So basically, we kind of want to do away with that and get back to the traditional, which is to say that you could go and buy that part. If you're savvy enough, you can swap it out and get back on the field.
Right. Yeah. What committee will that be heard at, Delegate?
That'll most likely be Environment and Transportation, E&T.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, do our listeners keep an eye out for that legislation? Yeah,
and this is a countrywide phenomena. We've got Congress looking at this as well for automotive, and I'm confident that this problem can get resolved. But ultimately, it's consumer choice, and one of the neatest allies, and this is what I love about Annapolis, is we have the Attorney General's office assisting with these bills because of the data privacy aspect. So when you get in that car and you drive and it's brand new,
right,
it's sending information, driving habits, and the like back to the auto manufacturer. Well, what are they doing with that information?
Right.
Ultimately, they're selling it without your permission.
Always good to see bipartisanship work together, especially in an issue as important and hopefully non-controversial as farming and farming equipment, things like that. So, well, Delegate, that concludes our show. I appreciate you coming on, and we wish you nothing but the best for the rest of the session here in Annapolis.
Always a pleasure.
We know it's busy. Hang in there, and we're definitely rooting for you.
Yeah, you guys take it easy, and if anybody back home has any issues with state government or any government for that matter, have them contact our office. We're glad to help out.
Thanks for watching Cecil TV. If you think programs like this are valuable, please consider becoming a donor to Cecil Public Media. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to the Cecil TV YouTube channel. I'm Grant Handley. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Have a great day.